The tattered market turns stones into gold, and the talent show is stunning. The basketball coach from a domestic fake university traveled back 15 years to become the chief assistant coach of the NBA Grizzlies. Knowing the future development trajectory of the NBA and the development path of most players, his vision is unparalleled. He started coaching the Summer League and played the role of Dwarf Tiger, Flatlow. Fratello. I thought he was here to assist me. Ty Coe cut off his career and eventually became a legendary coach. Keywords of the novel. Coach. Coach the Grizzlies at the beginning. Payne plays the Dwarf Tiger without a pop-up window. Coach. Coach the Grizzlies at the beginning. Payne plays the Dwarf Tiger. Download the complete text. Coach. Coach the Grizzlies at the beginning. Payne plays the Dwarf Tiger. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. The young Marshal coming out of NCAA. Strive for the top spot in NBA fame. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The young Marshal coming out of NCAA. Shooting the first shot of NBA fame. July in Memphis is like a woman's face, changing every word. The previous second was still calm, and after a moment, the sky suddenly darkened, with dense layers of dark clouds gathering in mid-air, forcing people rushing home early. Lu Yong lay on a wooden bed in a small apartment, with a resilient and determined face filled with pain and exhaustion. Damn it, I drank too much again, my head, in a dimly lit room. At this moment, Lu Yong was frowning, tightly closing his eyes, lying in bed and occasionally turning over to make a sound. For a long time. After searching for a long time but couldn't find his phone, Lu Yong suddenly opened his eyes and stared blankly at everything in front of him. This is an old house filled with a sense of the times, with only a bed and table left, and a sofa alone placed there. On the table next to it, there is also a mirror that has been smashed in half, carefully glued together with glue from the middle. Where is this? Lu Yong rubbed and grabbed his hair with a headache, put on his shoes and got out of bed. He stumbled all the way to the table and took a sip of water, feeling better in his mouth. Last night, he drank with his friends until midnight, and when he got home, he lay in bed drowsy without even taking off his clothes. After waking up, Lu Yong felt his brain heavy and inexplicably added a memory that did not belong to him, making him seriously doubt whether he had been drunk and foolish. Lu Yong. NCAA basketball assistant coach at the University of Texas. In 2006, he became an assistant coach for the Grizzlies for the new season through an interview with the Dwarf Tigers McFlatlow coaching staff. No, it's the chief assistant coach. Lu Yong sat on the sofa in a daze for a while, looking at the completely unfamiliar environment around him and the constantly rolling memories in his mind. He muttered to himself, have I traveled? He picked up the mirror on the table and found a strange face in it. He is much more handsome than his previous life, with a faint stubble on his face, sharp edges, and a pair of deep eyes that are very eye-catching. After taking a photo for a while, Lu Yong rubbed his forehead with his hand and could only reluctantly accept the fact that he had traveled to the United States. In his past life, Lu Yong was 32 years old and graduated from a second undergraduate program in management. After graduation, he did not choose a job that matched his major, but instead used connections to enter a fake university as a basketball coach. This job is purely for living, with a low salary but the advantage of being idle. Lu Yong has been working for many years, but in the blink of an eye, he even wore it to Memphis in 2006 and became the chief assistant coach of the NBA Grizzlies for the new season. The Grizzlies had a record of 49 wins and 33 losses last season, ranking 5th in the Western Conference. However, in the first round of the playoffs, they were swept out 4-0 by the Dallas Mavericks. Coach Mike Fratello complained to the management during the offseason about the lack of talent in his teaching assistant team, which led to the expansion of the coaching staff after the draft. Nicknamed Dwarf Tiger, Mike Flatlow is a famous NBA coach who has coached teams such as the Atlanta Hawks and Cleveland Cavaliers. This veteran coach had a total record of 667 wins and 548 losses during his tenure in the NBA, and won the NBA Coach of the Year award in the 1985-86 season. He has been serving as a commentator for TNT since 2001. The management of the Grizzlies in the 4.05 season spent a lot of money inviting him out, hoping that this veteran coach can give the team a soul. In fact, Flatello does have two tricks, and relying on the coaching style of Pau Gasol, he really led the team to the playoffs. However, Flatello is stubborn and has average abilities. As soon as he entered the playoffs, his true form was revealed and he was swept out 4.0 by the Mavericks, who ranked only one place higher than him. He looked very embarrassed. Essence of human film. Wilkins once played under Flatello for a period of time. In his words, "Mike is hard to improve the overall strength of the team." This summer, in addition to Lu Yong, a young coach who emerged from the NCAA, he also joined the Grizzlies coaching staff with Tony Brown, who had previously served as an assistant coach at Purdue University. A fat guy who is good at arranging defensive tactics is very rigid in his appearance. According to my memory, the man, also known as Lu Yong, is of Chinese descent. He is 31 years old this year and grew up in the United States since childhood. 3 years ago, his only relative and adoptive father passed away due to illness. Now, he only has a distant cousin who occasionally contacts him, and he is completely alone. It is gratifying that Lu Yong is a genius in coaching, having become an assistant coach for the NCAA powerhouse team, the University of Texas, at a young age. And bravely took the step towards the NBA this summer, becoming the chief assistant coach of the 5th-ranked Grizzlies in the Western Conference last season through a roundabout interview. As the memories in his mind deepened, Lu Yong sat on the chair and gradually became excited. Carefully picking up the one-year teaching assistant contract from the table, Lu Yong looked at it and his eyebrows gradually relaxed, with a smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. A young handsome man at the age of 31 is truly a talented person. Lu Yong is very willing to become a basketball coach in the NBA League, which is much more elegant than his previous life as a nominal coach at a fake university. He comes from 15 years later and knows the future development trajectory of the NBA, the development path of most players, as well as suitable tactics and tactics. His vision is unparalleled, comparable to 100% turning stone into gold. As the chief assistant coach, as long as he gets a chance, he can definitely prove himself to be a qualified basketball coach. Not long after, he will lead the Grizzlies to participate in the annual Summer League, and Lu Yong feels that this is the opportunity to shoot his first shot of NBA fame. The Summer League mainly examines the arena of new players and league-edge players. The coaches of each team will not personally attend, but will only send assistant coaches to lead the team and scouts to accompany them. In addition to helping newcomers adapt to the NBA competition as soon as possible, I also want to take a chance to pick up loopholes in the Summer League. The Grizzlies will have 3 rookies participating in the Summer League this season, namely Rudy Gay, who finished 8th in the first round, Kyle Lowry, who finished 24th in the first round, and Hideki Warwick, who finished 19th in the first round last year. Rudy Gay shared the 2005 Major Eastern Conference Rookie of the Year honor with Georgetown University forward Jeff Green in the 4.05 season and was named the best rookie in the United States by Sports News. During his peak season, he averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal per game. He was once the Bear King and also the Dragon King for a while. Although he is still a rookie in the league, he still has no problem dominating the Summer League. Kyle Lowry, who ranked 24th in the first round, was not as strong as Guy, but at a height of 1.85 meters, he weighed 196 pounds, and his strong physique was not inferior even when facing second place. During his peak season, Lowry was even better than Rudy Gay, averaging 22 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. He was not only selected for the NBA's best team, but also helped the Raptors win the championship in the 18.19 season as the second team leader. Hakeem Warwick is the worst of these three players, but with a strong physique, he has had some shining moments in his career. He not only hit double-doubles with 32 points and 15 rebounds in a single game, but also scored 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist in a single season, with a shooting percentage of over 50%. With 3 of them as the core to compete in the Summer League, coupled with the top in the rundown market, Lu Yong is confident that he can come up with a top-notch starting lineup and lead this Grizzlies to sweep through the generally low intensity of the Summer League. At the very least, the abilities and values displayed by these newcomers under his command are definitely stronger than when they played under the rigid, dwarf Tiger Fratello. No one knows better than Lu Yong how high the upper limit is for Guy and Laurie, and how talented the Grizzlies, who rotate all their main players in the first round, are. In the first few years of Laurie's career, he was used as a defensive defender under Fratello, which was truly a waste of money. As long as Lu Yong participates in the team's signings, he can gather a team of potential stars. Even the team with the best talent can become a king's teacher. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Missing free list. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Missing free list. The next morning, the NBA free market opened and the Grizzlies management held an employee meeting. The players have already gone home from vacation at this time, but the team management is still busy with the off-season. Especially for the chief assistant coach Lu Yong, who will lead the team to participate in the Summer League in a few days. From tactical division to player selection, he needs to personally step down, so there is no time to slack off. Lu Yong had just stepped into the conference room when Grizzly general manager Chris Wallace welcomed him. Lu and Tony, this year you are competing together in the Summer League. Our first match will be against the Rockets. It is said that a Chinese player named Wang Zhizhi will represent the Rockets in the competition. Wang Zhizhi represents the Rockets in the Summer League. Lu Yong realized that his joining had a butterfly effect. Wang Zhizhi's last season playing for the NBA was 4.05. That year, he played 20 games for the Heat, averaging 5 minutes per game, scoring 2 points and 1 rebound, making him a reliable edge player in the league. Later, Li Moe, the director of the Basketball Management Center who went to the United States to watch the NBA All-Star Game, had 3 meetings with Wang Zhizhi in Los Angeles and communicated and convinced him. The first face-to-face communication between Li Moe and Wang Zhizhi became the key to Wang Zhizhi's eventual return to China. In the original historical trajectory, Wang Zhizhi should have given up the idea of attacking the NBA and is preparing for the Japan Men's Basketball World Championships in August this year. Unexpectedly, he was invited by the Rockets to participate in this year's Summer League. Lu Yong believes that Wang Zhizhi's participation in the Summer League for the Rockets is likely to have offended Yao Ming. If it weren't for this relationship, the Rockets management probably wouldn't even give him a smile. Wallace patted Lu Yong on the shoulder and continued, "Lu, you can discuss with Maurice about inviting players for the Summer League. He will send out invitations to the players according to your requirements, but it's not guaranteed whether he can come or not." Maurice Dagger is a scout for the Grizzlies, 54 years old, and still working hard on the front line. "Is there a detailed list of free agents?" Lu Yong asked. "There is a list, but there are too many people who have signed up to participate in the Summer League. I only have basic information such as name, height, and weight, and it is difficult to calculate the technical characteristics of the players, especially those who have not played in the NBA draft." Maurice replied. "Having a name is enough, please send me a list of Xia Lian's free agents later," Lu Yong nodded and said. Maurice had a bad first impression of Lu Yong and felt that the young man in front of him was too arrogant. He spoke coldly and said, "Mr. Lu, do you think Grizzlies scouts have poor abilities? Can you choose your favorite player based solely on a list of players without technical characteristics?" "Of course," Lu Yong nodded and said. "What?" Maurice was taken aback at the words. He thought that the young and energetic Lu Yong would confront him head-on, and also thought that Lu Yong would be hindered by the management's perfunctory handling here. However, he did not expect this guy to nod his head. Just relying on a player list to select players, I am too lazy to even prepare videos of technical characteristics. Although I don't understand their playing style, shouldn't we wait and see if it's suitable for the team? The players' hearts and minds, of course, follow their hearts. Maurice didn't expect the young man in front of him to say such a thing. At first glance, it made sense and he stood still without refuting. Mr. Morris, it shouldn't be a problem for me to have a free list of summer league players, right? Lu Yong smiled slightly when he saw that the opponent didn't respond. If it's not convenient, I can find someone else. Compared to Tony Brown, who joined the coaching staff, Lu Yong appeared confident in every move he made. The elderly management couldn't help but mutter to themselves, it seems that this new chief teaching assistant is not a fuel-efficient lamp. It's better to avoid causing him trouble if there's nothing else to do. Being able to become the chief assistant coach of an NBA team at such a young age is indeed a person with a personality. Coach Flatello sees Lu Yong as more and more pleasing to the eye. He likes people who have something to say and prefers assistants who can help him share pressure and provide advice. If the Grizzlies coaching staff in the new season continues to be left to him to act independently, just like last year, and the assistant coaches remain silent, wouldn't his extensive expansion of the coaching staff this year become meaningless? Lu Yong possesses both the youthful vigor and the confidence to take on responsibilities, which satisfied Flatlow, who personally interviewed him. He felt that he had a sharp eye and a discerning heart. The Grizzlies have retained their core lineup from last year's playoffs this season, and the weakest link is precisely the coaching staff. Fratello hopes that Lu Yong can become a capable assistant around him, sharing the pressure on his shoulders instead of pandering like a useless stick. After the meeting, Maurice handed over a list of free agents to Lu Yong. There are probably dozens of people with densely packed names, which at first glance can be quite headache-inducing. This list includes recent draft picks from recent years, as well as those who have been fired after playing in the NBA for a period of time. Like Wang Zhizhi, they still want to challenge the NBA's fringe players. Of course, there are also veterans who are on the verge of retirement in their twilight years, trying to return to the team's vision through the stage of the Summer League, and trying to cheat an old fogey of an old-age contract. This kind of veteran still has a strong appeal in the free market, but the Grizzlies are mainly honing newcomers this year, and it's not up to assistant coach Lu Yong to worry about interacting with veteran players. Returning to the office, Tony Brown picked up the list on the table and glanced briefly, then handed it to Lu Yong. Lu, you can choose first, as long as you make up enough of the big list in the end. Let me take a look. Lu Yong took the information and looked at it carefully. After being named by more than a dozen players, his caution was dirty and he couldn't help but jump violently. He saw an extremely familiar name. Ariza. According to data, Ariza played for the New York Knicks and Magic last season, playing 36 games for the Knicks and 21 games for the Magic. He averaged over 10 minutes per game, with 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. He became a free agent this summer and has not yet signed a contract with the team. In this era, apart from Lu Yong, no one could have imagined that Ariza would become a top 3D player in the league in the future, earning a maximum annual salary of $15 million in a season and being even more sought after than a star in the free market. Signing a football star also requires consideration of whether it matches their own star, and signing Ariza with 3D attributes does not have this problem at all. This guy has a versatile playing style, capable of shooting three-pointers, cutting in the air, attacking quickly, and defending. If it doesn't work out, even if it's abandoned, it's not a big deal. It's like all the gold on the court. During his peak season, Ariza averaged 15 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals per game, with a 3-point shooting percentage of 33.4%. He integrated offense and defense, making him a cheap and useful championship puzzle. Ariza was just an unknown outsider at this time, and he had good luck picking up leaks this time. Cute new author seeks the support of all the big shots, thank you all. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 6 Strong Generals in Hand, Can't We Win the Battle of Crickets? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. 6 Strong Generals in Hand, Can't We Win the Cricket Summer League? Lu Yong continued to look down, and soon another familiar name came into view. Jose Barria, a point guard who is 1.8 meters tall and weighs 79 kilograms, was a draft pick in this year's draft. In Lu Yong's past life, Barria signed a 2-year, $1 million contract with the Dallas Mavericks after playing in the Summer League. Although he didn't have many opportunities to perform during his rookie season, averaging only 5.8 minutes per game, scoring 2.4 points, 0.8 rebounds, and 0.7 assists, he spent 11 years in his career repaying the Mavericks and dedicating all his energy to Dallas. Barria has scored double in 6 seasons of his career, with the highest season averaging 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. He is full of hard work on the field. After helping the Mavericks win the championship in 2011, he was poached by the Timberwolves at a high salary and played for 3 seasons to reach the peak of his career. He returned to his old club in the summer of 2014 and announced his retirement due to injury in 2020, still averaging 7 points and 4 assists per game. In the 10.11 season, Barria, who was only 1.8 meters tall, defended against James in the NBA Finals, which made more fans know him. He not only made it difficult for the Heat to guard against, but also in a few rounds, Barria replaced LeBron James without becoming a loophole, causing LeBron James, who had poor back-to-back singles ability at the time, to suffer a lot. He became famous not because he was motivated enough in the early stages of his career, but largely due to the series of matches against the Heat's Big Three that year. Barria has gained widespread recognition through his own efforts and can even be considered one of the most inspirational draft picks in the history of the league. In short, this small stature, who may be less than 1.8 meters tall in actual height, is very capable and is the last gem of this year's draft. When he saw the third player, Lu Yong believed that he would definitely lead the team to achieve good results in the Summer League. Reggie Evans, standing 2.03 meters tall and weighing 111 kilograms, will be nicknamed the rebounding maniac in the future. He has only relied on rebounding to establish himself in the NBA for 13 seasons. Evans's most bizarre game of his career was representing the Nuggets in a game against the Raptors. He played for 39 minutes and scored a super unconventional number of 0 points and 20 rebounds, becoming the second player to receive this number after Bulls star Rodman, 0 points and 21 rebounds. He has been fired multiple times in his career and has played for a total of 7 teams. But during the peak season, he was able to grab 12 rebounds in less than 27 minutes, ranking 5th in the league. Due to his family's poverty, Evans grew up eating 100 meals from a young age. The concrete basketball court next to his home became a paradise for him to avoid chaos and crime. There were no clear basketball rules here, and the disregard for physical confrontation and tackles with injuries was Evans's childhood basketball routine. This indirectly shaped his fierce, resilient, and ruthless basketball style to achieve his goals. At the 2002 draft, Reggie Evans was not unexpectedly selected. After all, at that time, 2.03 meters was only the height of a forward player, coupled with his rough attacking skills and too old age, which resulted in no team choosing to give such a player a valuable draft opportunity to train. After a brief period of sadness after losing the election, Evans, under the pressure of life, has packed his bags and prepared to go to the European League. At this time, the Seattle Supersonics Summer League lineup was short of players, and Evans received a phone invitation from the team's general manager, Rick Sander. The two sides hit it off and Evans boarded the plane to Seattle with his packed luggage. The hardships he experienced since childhood made Evans dare not miss any opportunity. In the Summer League where rookies and draft takers tested their skills, Evans was like a hungry beast. His fierce defense and rebounding abilities earned him a base salary contract of $350,000. Last season, he was traded to the Nuggets by the Seattle Supersonics, but due to insufficient offensive skills and lack of cultivation value, he was refrigerated by George Karl, who loves offensive tactics. After trying out the free market this summer, Evans was ignored and signed up for the Summer League, hoping to have a chance to prove himself again. After playing 13 seasons in the NBA and still playing in the Big Three basketball league, rebounding maniac Reggie Evans naturally has his courage. Reggie Evans is considered the bankrupt version of the flower bug Rodman, with impressive rebounding abilities. Although he is short in height, his playing style is very fierce. In the Summer League, partnering with power forward Hakeem Warwick, who has poor rebounding awareness, is a perfect match for the front court. Lu Yong wrote down these names. Although they have not yet reached their peak and are currently in a downturn in their careers, the strength they have gathered together is still not to be underestimated and is enough to cause a storm in the Summer League. Anyway, Lu Yong must play well in the Summer League and enhance his position and voice in the Grizzlies. As long as these three players can be successfully signed after the Summer League, they can still be useful even in the new season. They are almost ready to play as starting players, but they are still more than enough to be substitute rookies. Looking at the list in his hand, Lu Yong began to feel excited about the upcoming Summer League. Rudy Guy, Laurie, Hakeem Warwick, Ariza, Baria, and rebounding maniac Reggie Evans, with these 6 strong players in hand, can't they still win the Cricket Summer League? Lu Yong handed the drawn list to Tony Brown. Just these few, find a way to contact them, and you will choose the remaining players. As the chief assistant coach, Lu Yong naturally has absolute say as the head coach of the Summer League. However, Tony Brown, as his deputy, also has the right to supervise and propose. Both of them are teaching assistants who have emerged from the NCAA, and they happen to be able to warm up in a competitive relationship. Tony Brown was taken aback for a moment and asked, "But you only selected 6 players, isn't it a bit short? Leave the rest to me. I'm afraid I'll mess things up and I won't be able to take on this responsibility. How about you choose a few more? I'll just choose fewer. Don't worry, having these 6 people is enough. I am the head coach of the Summer League, and if my record is not good, I should be responsible. If Mike raises any objections, I will explain. You just need to choose the player you like," Lu Yong smiled. "Okay, I hope you're right," Tony Brown said, holding a pen cap in his mouth and turning to lie on the table, starting to draw his name. Lu Yong and Tony Brown are just colleagues and did not have any personal connections during their college years. The reason why the two can fight against each other is because they are both newcomers who joined the coaching staff from NCAA, but there is still a competitive relationship in essence. If it were for a more lackluster assistant, I would have longed for Lu Yong to make mistakes and hoped that he would lose all 5 games in the Summer League and get out of school immediately. The position of the chief assistant coach is not fixed, and head coach McFlatlow has the right to transfer coaching staff. Tony Brown's words of reminder are already considered very kind of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The first step of summer expedition. Pour chicken soup in. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The first step of summer expedition. Pour chicken soup in. The Grizzlies have set their game location in Salt Lake City, and the management has pre-booked a hotel. The Salt Lake City Summer League, originally known as the Rocky Mountain Summer League, began in 1984 and is one of the top 3 summer leagues with the highest number of NBA teams participating. Lu Yong and Tony Brown led their team on the expedition with salary subsidies, full coverage of food and accommodation, and meal allowances. The only difference from the regular season is that there is no dedicated plane and you have to buy your own ticket to go there. On July 5, Lu Yong received good news that Baria, Ariza, and Reggie Evans all accepted the invitation to represent the Grizzlies in the Summer League. Tony Brown's selection was rejected by a few people, so he had to temporarily recruit a few more to make up for it. The Grizzlies have the lowest presence among the 30 teams in the league as a playoff powerhouse. Representing the Grizzlies in the Summer League makes it easier for them to have the opportunity to stay with the team. Both Ariza and Reggie Evans have had some NBA experiences, but due to their personal strength, they have been unable to renew their contracts, so their enthusiasm for representing the Grizzlies is even higher than that of other newcomers. The Grizzlies finally gathered 13 people to fight, many of whom were unnamed fringe members. General Manager Chris Wallace suggested that Lu Yong choose a few more, preferably inviting a few famous players, to avoid losing too badly in the Summer League. Lu Yong thought it was unnecessary and refused. In this lineup, Flatello feels like he's in a slump. Apart from the three rookies of the Grizzlies themselves, the most famous one is Reggie Evans, who is not good at scoring and only knows how to grab rebounds. My career average is 4 points and 7 rebounds per game, with a shooting percentage of 46.6%. I rely on eating pie and picking up loopholes for all my points. Fratello believes that even if he leads this lineup to play in the Summer League, it will be difficult to achieve a 50% win rate and is likely to be swept out by other teams. Fratello couldn't help but speak up, "Lou, I know you're very capable and want to prove yourself in this way. But unlike the NBA and NCAA, tactics often only play a supporting role, and it's the stars who decide the fate of the game on the field. The people you've chosen don't have any reputation, so the hard way is to plan to lose all 5 games." Lu Yong smiled and said, "Don't worry, Mike. I will prove through practical actions that your decision was correct. I am very confident in this year's Summer League." Fratello paused for a moment and nodded, "Okay, then I'll wait for your good news in Memphis." The next morning, Lu Yong and Tony Brown got off the plane in Salt Lake City and took a taxi from the airport to their booked hotel for a brief rest. The hotel configuration is not luxurious, but the coach group stays in a single room with a large bed, so there is no need to squeeze with the players. At 9 a.m., the players invited to participate in the Summer League arrived at the hotel one after another. Lu Yong saw Ariza, whose green and astringent aura had not yet fallen off his face. Although his body looked a bit thin, the muscles on his calves proved that he had strong instant explosive power. Baria, a short cropped underdog, arrived wearing a half-sleeved shirt that had turned white. His simple and honest face was full of tension, clearly cherishing the opportunity to represent the Grizzlies in the Summer League. Baria, who had the lowest starting point, greeted everyone inside and looked like a little boy carrying a bag. If it weren't for traveling with memories, Lu Yong wouldn't have believed that this guy would have been able to single-handedly defend against Heat Johns back in the finals. Reggie Evans and Lu Yong had no change in their impression. The muscles on their arms were as thick as barbells, and their faces were full of ferocity. They also had a full beard covering half of their faces. No one greeted Reggie Evans proactively, and this guy made people feel like he wasn't a good person at first glance. The word violence is almost written on one's face, and not playing basketball to take orders and scare children is definitely very promising. At noon, the coaching staff arranged for the players to adapt to the field. The Summer League is very tight, and there is very little time for everyone to train together. If you want to achieve results in a short period of time, you must cherish every second. It is difficult for a team that has been improvised to achieve seamless teamwork, and coupled with the fact that the Grizzlies have the best talent in the first round of the 8th pick, Rudy Guy, it is even harder to achieve good results than to reach the sky. After warming up, Lu Yong stood on the sidelines blowing his whistle and vigorously tapping his hands to signal the players to gather. He smiled and said, "Let me introduce myself. I am Lu Yong, the head coach of your Summer League campaign. I have adjusted your playing time and order throughout the game. The Grizzlies are a team with strong inclusiveness, and you can all have the opportunity to prove yourself here, provided that you put in your best effort after playing, rather than doing anything harmful to the team just to brush data. So, the tactics I emphasized must be executed seriously, if you want to stay in the NBA." Lu Yong paused and suddenly roared loudly, "This summer is your chance to prove yourself. The door to staying with the Grizzlies is right in front of you. Tell me, are you willing to push open this door with your own hands?" "Yes." The loud voices of the players rang out, and Lu Yong noticed that Reggie Evans, Baria, Ariza, and Rudy Gay were the most passionate, with an eager excitement on his face. The only 6 players that Lu Yong requested by name were Laurie and Warwick, who did not speak up. Warwick was a sophomore who entered the league last season and has had a stable playing time with the Grizzlies. He is even expected to start in the new season. Playing in the summer league is more about honing their skills, so their enthusiasm is naturally not as good as others. Little Steel Cannon, Laurie, is purely due to personality reasons, and has always been low-key and not good at expressing himself in his career. If he is always full of passion like Reggie Evans, Lu Yong will actually be very uncomfortable. Lu Yong named and asked, "Reggie, you are the most experienced person in the NBA in the team. What are your goals for the new season?" "Becoming a top rebounder, helping the team with defense, coach." Reggie Evans has been mediocre throughout his 4 seasons in the league, struggling to make ends meet even this year. He yearns for success more than anyone on the field, and knows his stadium positioning more clearly than these newbies. Lu Yong asked, "You work very hard. If I let you play as a center forward, do you have the confidence to protect your rebounds?" "Of course. Rebounds are my life, no one can snatch rebounds from my head." Reggie Evans clenched his fists and shouted. Reggie Evans has not yet reached the pinnacle of his career, but his ability to grab rebounds is also terrifying. Although he is only 2.03 meters tall and a bit short as a center forward, with excellent lower limb strength and positioning skills, even last season's league rebounding king Garnett found it difficult to take advantage of him. Reggie Evans has a strong lower limb strength, which is why he was able to secure a base salary contract from the Supersonics back then. "Okay, I believe you will definitely become a top rebounder. Your strength and positioning are capable of playing as a center forward. As long as you train hard and strengthen your sense of pick and roll in field games, I am optimistic that you will become a starting player for the NBA team in the future," Lu Yong said sternly. Before the summer league, receiving recognition and attention from the head coach, Tough Guy Evans shouted excitedly, "Thank you, coach." Becoming an NBA starter is his dream, and Lu Yong's words ignited Reggie Evans's passion. He can't wait to play. Tony Brown stood on the side and was somewhat surprised. Both of them were assistant coaches who had emerged from the NCAA, but Lu Yong's empathy, chicken soup, ability was much stronger than him. No wonder he was able to defeat multiple opponents in the interview and become the chief assistant coach of the Grizzlies for the new season, obtaining the opportunity to coach the Summer League as a substitute head coach. Cute new author, please ask for the support of all the big shots and vote for it. Thank you very much. End of this chapter. Chapter 5 Group Adversarial. Tony. The advantage of this wave lies in me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Group Adversarial. Tony. The advantage of this wave lies in me. Lu Yong looked at another person. Trevor, you have also played in the NBA for some time. What are your goals for the new season? After listening to Lu Yong's question, Ariza thought for a moment and said, I want to become a small forward with both offense and defense. The Grizzlies themselves are a fiercely defensive team, and you definitely have a lot of opportunities to perform on the defensive end. As long as you can shoot those shots that are in the open space, I will give you a chance to prove yourself, Lu Yong laughed. Ariza has been practicing three-point shooting throughout the summer, trying to challenge his big contract. Now that the coach says he will be given a chance to perform, his mind is noticeably more at ease. Then, Lu Yong walked up to the only draft pick in the team. Baria, what are your goals for the new season? Joining an NBA team, proving to scouts that I have the ability to compete in the NBA, no worse than those selected, Baria whispered with a simple and honest face. In fact, Baria was quite impressive in high school. In his third year of high school, he not only helped the team win the Florida championship, but also was selected for the Florida Team of the Year with an average of 24.8 points per game, and was named the Miami-Dade County Player of the Year. After entering college, as a freshman, Barria ranked third in the American Eastern Conference, AEC, with an average of 17 points per game, and was selected for the All-Eastern Conference Rookie Team, Championship Team, and All-American Third Team. When he graduated from college, Barria ranked only behind Reggie Lewis with a total career score of 2,209, becoming the second highest scorer in the history of Northeastern University. It is worth mentioning that this guy performed outstandingly at the Portsmouth Invitational held in Virginia in April this year, averaging 15 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 13.6 assists in 3 games, breaking the game record. He has just won the Allen Iverson Award. However, the main reason for not being selected in the draft was still that he was too short. The official height was 1.8 meters, but when Lu Yong stood in front of him at 1.83 meters, this guy definitely lied about his height. Lu Yong knows that the peak player Barria is very strong and is a sixth-man level player, but he still lacks understanding of the rookie season. How are you shooting? I can finish with 3-pointers, mid-range, and throws, and I have a greater chance of taking empty spots. I rarely wasted opportunities during college, said Barria, scratching his head with his hand. Okay, let me take a look at your shots during the group confrontation later. If your shooting level meets the requirements, I will consider starting you in the summer league. This summer's league, Lu Yong has a total of 6 talented players available, and his least favorite is Warwick, who lacks shooting ability and attitude. If Barria's level of performance satisfies him, Lu Yong would rather use a dual point guard lineup to play fast than keep Warwick on the bench. This guy is a sophomore, and no matter how kind he is to Lu Yong, it's not easy to win people's hearts. On the other hand, other people who are either first-year rookies or invited by him are more likely to develop a favorable impression of him and have a chance to become players of his faction in the future. Lu Yong walked up to Laurie and Guy and said, "You have already obtained a rookie contract, so I don't have much to ask. I hope you can perform well in the summer league, and I will arrange tactics reasonably according to your characteristics. Don't let me down." The whistle caught everyone's attention, and Lu Yong pointed to the 5 players he had just talked to and shouted, "You guys stand out." Now everyone is changing their clothes and preparing for a group match. One team in black vest, one team in white vest, choose your own number. He turned around again and said, "Tony, you choose 5 people. Let's compete in groups and leave Hakeem, the main force in 2nd grade, for you. Is that interesting?" Tony Brown always feels like something is wrong, but from the lineup, the players he invited have a richer career history, and with Hakeem Warwick left for him, it seems that his team has a greater chance of winning. "Lou, are you serious?" Tony Brown looked at Lu Yong with confusion, as he had never seen a substitute coach take the initiative to challenge him. In a group match, he selected 3 new players and 2 batters, leaving all the main players to his assistants. "Of course, I have always been very serious. Okay, I will instruct the players to be lenient and save you some face." Tony Brown didn't believe that the players he invited would lose, as his men were all experienced players who had played in the NBA and European leagues. Second-year student Hakeem Warwick is also a key player in the Grizzlies' rotation, and is expected to start in the new season. He has a group of strong players in his hands, and this advantage lies with me. Tony really doesn't know how he lost. "Let's arrange the tactics, we'll start the game in 10 minutes, Lu Yong pointed out. "Okay." Group confrontation is the most commonly used training method for coaching teams, which not only allows for the use of free time to adjust the lineup, but also provides a more intuitive analysis of the characteristics of players, helping to develop their potential. The players put on their vests and divided into 2 teams, each forming a circle. Lu Yong drew the tactical board a few times and looked up to the player, saying, "The time is too short. It's difficult for you to execute the tactics I drew. It's easier for us to play in groups against each other. Rudy Guy, you are a strong attacking point in positional warfare. I will arrange for players to cover and create a dislocation for you, and try to use their personal abilities to tear apart the defense. If you are caught, you can divide the ball to your teammates. Pay more attention to the empty space created by crossing the weak side. Coach, what do I need to do? Baria couldn't help but ask. The tactic arranged by Lu Yong is to have Guy hold the ball and attack in a positional battle, playing a role similar to that of Cavaliers' small forward LeBron James. As a point guard, Baria is confused and doesn't know what to do. Shooting, I need you to use your speed and cover to run more. If there is a chance, Guy will pass the ball to you. Remember, run more outside the 3-point line, and the team needs your 3-point shot to open up space. Don't worry, coach, I promise to complete the task. Baria said confidently. Let go of the pitching, don't be afraid of hitting the iron. I'll pass the ball to you when I grab the offensive rebound, Reggie Evans said with a hand patting Baria's shoulder. But I don't want to shoot iron. Looking at the ferocious Reggie Evans, Baria was stunned and held back his words, afraid of being beaten. Lu Yong continued, Guy, you are the attacking core of the team's field battle. Pay attention to the timing of your shots and don't throw recklessly. I hope you can develop good attacking habits. In the summer league, if you play recklessly, someone will cover for you. Once you enter the regular season, Coach Flatello will definitely not tolerate players playing recklessly. Got it, Coach. Guy knew that Lu Yong was doing him good, and all these words nodded in his heart. The Grizzlies were the fifth strongest playoff team in the Western Conference last season, and their goal for the new season is the Swordsman Finals. It is impossible to let newcomers mess around like a bad team. Although he will be heavily trained by the team in the first round of the 8th draft, once his playing style harms the team, the stubborn Flatlow will definitely not get used to him. Lu Yong turned his head to look at Ariza and said, Trevor, all you need to do is ambush in the left corner. On the offensive end, you don't need to run, and if there is a chance, you can take the ball and shoot, responsible for opening up space. On the defensive end, you need to lead the opponent's attacking blade, use your arm span advantage, and don't let the opponent jump easily. Yes. Ariza shouted. Laurie, you are a player who relies on your brain to play. I believe you know what to do. You are flexible on the field and when Guy comes up, you take over the game. I have confidence in your control ability, Lu Yong continued. As for Reggie, I don't have any requirements for you. Give more cover to the outside players, protect the rebounds, whether it's offensive or defensive rebounds, I hope to see you dominate the basket and break the opponent's inner line. Okay, coach. Evans nodded awkwardly, knowing that he had nothing to help the team except for fighting for rebounds. I believe everyone is clear about what they should do. Let me emphasize one more thing. Show your fighting spirit, don't make mistakes, so that I can more intuitively discover your strengths. Lu Yong tailored tactics for each of them, not doing what they are not good at, making it easier to showcase their strengths. Alright, get ready to play. This group match is related to your playing time in the summer league. Show me all your strength. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Is still too young. My goal is to win all 5 battles. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 is still too young. My goal is to win all 5 matches, never lose. Tony Brown is also seriously arranging tactics to prove that his coaching level is not inferior to Lu Yong. The opponent chose 3 rookies and 2 rags, and even rotated the only starting player in the team for him. If he loses, Tony Brown feels like he won't have the face to brag in the future. However, after the game began, Tony Brown sadly found that his ideal scenario of a close match did not occur, and the situation on the field was actually one-sided. The white team led by Lu Yong not only has a smooth attack, but also the pressure displayed on the defensive end has surpassed the black team by more than 2 streets. Tony Brown stood on the sidelines with a bewildered expression on his face, not knowing why it had turned out like this. The worst performer was the black team center Will Taylor. He is 2.09 meters tall and weighs 118 kilograms. He has been playing in the development league for many years and has rich experience in competitions. Last season, he was even selected for the best team 3 in the development league. As a result, Taylor was overpowered by Reggie Evans, who was only 2.03 meters tall. In one round, Evans grabbed offensive rebounds 3 times in a row, and finally compensated for a foul before ending the game. Evans is limited by his height and athletic ability, and his block data is not outstanding, but his strong body can push Taylor out of the penalty area. When stuck, with just a wave of his big arm, he firmly occupies the basket, exuding a strong aura of being able to handle the game with ease. Black team defender Stephen Jones also struggled to play, attempting to force against Barria due to his height advantage. However, after a physical confrontation, he was immediately bounced out by Barria, crawling out of the sidelines and unable to stand steadily. Finally, with the help of pick and roll, he managed to break in and was intercepted by Laurie, who was defending from the weak side. He made 2 mistakes in 3 rounds and experienced the fear of being dominated by the white team. There was no score in the team training match, and Tony Brown briefly remembered that his players had lost by about 15 points, even though they had only played 1 game. Lu Yong knew how brave his players were, and playing this level of group confrontation was like indiscriminate killing. In the second quarter, he decided to study new tactics and clearly began to let go. Of course, the black team players are not without merit. Stednovic, who came from the European League, played well and made several shots from the outside, showing a soft shooting feel. Unfortunately, his athletic talent is too poor. With a height of 2.01 meters and a floor-standing small forward, he suffers from poor speed and confrontation, and is destined not to become a qualified NBA rotation. The other few are all black players who have competed in various leagues. They have strong running and jumping abilities, but their minds are not good. They have low ball scores and cannot understand the tactics. In positional battles, they only know how to catch the ball and break through singles. This type of person is most commonly seen on street courts, and players of this level can be seen in almost every park in the United States. Continuous dribbling from the crotch to the receiver and then turning around, the playing style may seem cool, but in professional leagues, it is all a chicken rib and not very practical. With a fierce operation like a tiger, Lu Yong's evaluation of this group of people after observing the battle was to take a closer look at the stationary pestle. Of course, the Summer League is a temporary patchwork of teams, and few coaches arrange complex tactical runs. They still have a role to play in the team. Suitable for the second team to go on the field and chase points, disrupting the overall rhythm of the opponent in chaotic battles. Tony Brown believes that promising defender Stephen Jones is completely disdainful to Lu Yong. This type of player does not have Kobe's life, but suffers from Kobe's illness. He only plays the ball recklessly on the offensive end and has no clear team consciousness in his mind. Jones's playing style is suitable for joining the CBA as a foreign player, with an average of 40 shots per game. Perhaps he can lead the team to the playoffs with his own strength. In the NBA, a league that values talent and teamwork, he is at most a marginal rotation, and with good luck, he may receive a basic salary. After the group confrontation, Lu Yong confirmed the starting lineup for the Summer League, which was exactly his ideal 5. Tony Brown was completely convinced and realized how bad his vision was, at least 2 levels behind Lu Yong. Sitting on the bench to rest, Lu Yong asked, "Tony, how many games do you think this lineup can win in the Summer League?" Tony Brown awkwardly scratched his head and said, "If they can perform at their level today, I think they can win at least 4 games. Lu Yong gently shook his head. "I'm still too young. I dare not even dare to be bold in my imagination. My goal is to win all 5 games and not lose a single one." "Lu, will you reuse Stephen Jones in the Summer League?" Of course, his style of play is very suitable for the Summer League, and being the 6th man is just right. However, after the Summer League ends, it should be difficult for him to stay with the Grizzlies. You know how strong the NBA is, Jones' ability still needs some preparation. Hey, Tony Brown sighed, feeling even more frustrated with his poor selection skills. The invited players were more than Lu Yong, but there was not a single player in his possession except for second-year student Hakeem Warwick, which was indeed a very frustrating thing. Tony wouldn't have thought to death how strong the starting five of the Grizzlies in this summer league would be. If they were all at their peak, even in regular season, they would still have the ability to compete. The next morning, Lu Yong led the team to another group confrontation and briefly explained to the players the attacking strategy in the summer league. The team that was temporarily assembled is not suitable for playing too deep tactics, but rather for them to play simple pick and roll and fast attack. At most, add a breakthrough goal with Rudy Gay as the core. It's not a problem to have a simple attacking strategy. After all, other teams are the same, and even the starting lineup is not as strong as the Grizzlies. There is no best dish, only more dishes. Xiao Yansai and chicken peck at each other, and the show is over. The defensive tactics are arranged by Tony Brown, and everyone is a member of the Grizzlies coaching team. Lu Yong is also not good at taking on everything and always needs to find something to do for him. If he doesn't have any chance to perform in the summer league, Lu Yong will lose his only partner in the new season, and he has truly become a shining star in the coaching staff. At 6 p.m., the players entered the stadium on time and waited in the locker room for the game to begin. The Rockets also arrived in Salt Lake City 2 days ago, during which everyone was arranging player training and inspections, providing valuable suggestions for the management's summer signing operation. The Summer League is not highly valued by the media in the United States, with ticket prices of only $10 to enter. Few people pay attention to this kind of game where players compete against each other. However, there were still many fans in the stadium tonight, a large part of whom were Chinese residents living in Salt Lake City, who came to the scene to support Chinese player Wang Zhizhi. The Grizzlies players have good morale, with a smile on their faces when they appear on the field. These 2 days of training have given them a lot of confidence. Lu Yong walked at the back of the team with some emotion, as this was his first time coaching an NBA game in 2 generations. Although it is only a summer league with low attention, it has a special significance. In addition, he is also very familiar with the players who play for the Rockets, especially Chinese player Wang Zhizhi. He has watched him play a lot in his past life, but now he has become a higher status Grizzlies coach than him. I don't know how Wang Zhizhi and domestic fans will feel when they see him, but I believe the expression on his face must be very exciting. Cute New Seeks Big Boss vote support Ha Huichang. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Domestic fans are stupid. Who exactly is this person? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Domestic fans are stupid. Who exactly is this person? This game is broadcasted on domestic Chinese websites. CCTV does not broadcast the NBA Summer League live, but fans can watch the live broadcast through the Chinese website. Due to Yao's influence, the Rockets have had high ratings in China in recent years. In addition, Wang Zhizhi is playing for the Rockets in the Summer League this year. Chinese website has specially invited Zhang Zhizhi and Yu Jia as game commentators. The Grizzlies players are not very famous, and when the two commentaries, they mostly bring the topic up to the Rockets. Suddenly, Yu Jia pushed a pair of glasses with her hand and said, "Let's see, there's an Asian walking towards the Grizzlies bench. He seems to be wearing a staff member of the team. Is he the Grizzlies assistant coach for the new season?" Director Zhang fixed his eyes and smiled, "Oh, that's amazing. He looks like a Chinese person, and this is the first time I've heard about it." The Asian worker among the two populations is naturally Lu Yong, dressed in a gray casual suit, young, handsome, and dashing. Under the gaze of Chinese fans in front of the TV, Lu Yong sat calmly on the Grizzlies coach's bench, his expression indifferent and thought-provoking. "Lu, you should know the Asian player across from you, right? Since you entered the field, I've seen him staring at you all along, Tony Brown smiled. Of course. Lu Yong sat on the bench and said with a relaxed expression, I know him, but unfortunately he may not know me. Lu Yong sat naturally off the field chatting with Tony Brown. Little did he know that this scene was deeply shocking to Wang Jiji and two domestic commentators who were warming up on site. Director Zhang looked puzzled and said, who the hell is this person? He even started chatting and laughing with Coach Grizzlies. I haven't heard of anyone in China working as a teaching assistant in the NBA. Yu Jia also looked bewildered and pushed his glasses on the bridge of his nose, saying, did he just join the Grizzlies coaching staff recently? He looks very young, and his identity should be a teaching assistant. I have never heard of his news before, so I think he is probably a Chinese. As soon as these words were spoken, the fans watching the game on TV were all stunned. Surprisingly, a young Chinese quietly became the coach of the NBA Grizzlies, which is a rare occurrence and has pioneered the domestic basketball industry. During the warm-up, Chinese player Wang Jiji looked curiously over here, but it was inconvenient for him to come over and say hello. Before the game, Tony Brown gathered the players together and emphasized a few defensive words. Lu Yong sat calmly on a chair drinking water, and his calm and composed expression made two domestic commentators more curious about his identity. Rocket starter with 5 players. Lucas 3, Spinelli's, Schneider, Novak, and Wang Jiji. 5 Grizzlies. Baria, Laurie, Guy, Ariza, Reggie Evans. Evans won the jump ball and the Grizzlies took the lead. Guy held the ball in the middle and observed his teammates' movements. Baria and Laurie, 2 defenders, saw this and began to use cover to look for opportunities. The 2 interior players Novak and Wang Jiji of the Rockets in the Summer League are both strong attacking and weak defending spatial players. They can play a huge tactical role on the offensive end, but their defensive ability is very poor, and they appear to be weak in blocking and rolling. Reggie Evans hung a cover at the top of the arc, and the downward movement took away the defensive attention of 2 Rockets players. The bullhorn position immediately became vacant. Laurie received a pass from Guy and made a 45-degree adjustment on the right side to take the shot. The ball went hollow into the net, shush. 2-0. The Rockets are attacking, with European Kobe Spanioris receiving the ball from the top of the arc and Ariza coming up to defend. The Greek Eagle Spinellis is still very young, and only Lu Yong knows how famous he will be in the European League in the future. He has won 7 Greek League championships, 4 Greek Cups, 3 Greek League MVPs, and 10 Greek League best lineups in his career. In 2020, Spinellis became the all-time scoring champion of the European basketball team. Previously, he was nicknamed European Kobe, but later played for the Greek team Panathinaikos. His nickname was Kill Bill, meaning that this small scoring player is cruel to enemies and never leaves a living name for his subordinates. This year is his first year in the NBA, and his personal skills and abilities have not yet reached the pinnacle of his career. Faced with Ariza's defense, Spinoris broke through on the left and was blocked. Ariza took a horizontal move to catch up and timely blocked the breakthrough route. Spinellis passed the ball to Wang Jiji, who received the ball in the 3-second zone and hit Evans with a back-to-back single. As a result, Evans stumbled twice and remained motionless under his feet. Instead, he roughly lost his attacking rhythm and could only transfer the ball with unsteady steps. Wang Jiji's physical fitness is not considered top-notch even in Asia. After entering the NBA, his strength has always been his weakness. Playing Reggie Evans with his back under the basket is like looking for abuse, it's better to float outside and shoot 3-pointers. Schneider received a rough pass from the outside and shot wide, with the rebound protected by Reggie Evans. In positional warfare, Grizzlies players engage in tactics. It's still the cross cover at the top of the arc, running in the opposite direction from the inner line to the outer line. This time Novak's long memory defense came out, Rudy Gay took advantage of the situation to score the ball, and Baria took the ball from outside the 3-point line and threw it, with an astonishing speed in his shots. Lucas III, who was also only 1.8 meters tall, symbolically extended his hand, but the interference was ineffective, and the basketball hollow into the net, schwa. 5-0. The Grizzlies started the game very easily, not only because of the individual abilities of the players, but also because of the poor defense of the Rockets. In positional battles, simple cross-cover can provide good shooting opportunities. Tony Brown is increasingly admiring Lu Yong. His vision is too sharp, analyzing the technical characteristics of each player clearly and arranging them reasonably in their comfort zone. Lu Yong stood on the sidelines, raised his arm high, and slapped Baria, who was defending from the back. This little guy has endless energy inside his body, and his three-point shooting ability is probably the most stable among the Grizzlies team. Seeing Lu Yong standing on the sidelines in a suit, the domestic audience instantly transformed into Rengia and began to guess his identity. What exactly is this person's identity? I haven't heard of anyone in China coaching in the NBA. This young NBA coach is already surprising enough, but he's still us Asians. I guess he may not be as old as Wang Zhizhi this year. He looks too young, and although he can rely on his face to make a living, he insists on relying on his talent. Director Zhang sat in the studio and analyzed, I think he should be a Chinese who grew up in the United States since childhood, but it's hard not to be surprised that he can become an assistant coach for an NBA team at such a young age. Yu Jia said, I don't know who he and the chubby guy next to him are the head coach of this summer league. If it were him, then his age would be too terrifying. Tony Brown is a 40-year-old middle-aged greasy uncle, and standing with Lu Yong is indeed more like leading a team bishop. If it weren't for Brown occasionally approaching Lu Yong to speak, domestic fans would have thought Brown was the head coach, while Lu Yong was a knowledgeable little follower following him. In the next few rounds, the overall strength of the Grizzlies will be even better, pressing down on the Rockets. It wasn't until 2 minutes later that the Rockets received their first sports goal of the game from point guard Lucas III. However, before the Rockets could catch their breath, Guy and Baria broke through the layup twice in a row. 13.3, Rocket coach Ball Smith called for a timeout. After the pause ended, the Rockets still couldn't make a comeback and were crushed to death by the Grizzlies players. Banger Smith sat down on the field feeling a bit depressed, not understanding why Grizzlies players are so powerful, even though everyone is a temporary team. Playing on point one like a football star, it's impossible to defend. Especially for that little guy who is only 1.8 meters tall, he was able to throw unexpectedly in a draft. Do you call this a cut in the bucket? The worst loss for the Rockets was still the frontcourt rebounds, driven crazy by the short and sturdy Reggie Evans. Wang Zhizhi and Novak are not traditional insiders themselves, and their ability to protect rebounds is very weak. When encountering Reggie Evans, they are like a chicken encountering a weasel, with no defense. Halfway through the first quarter of the game, Reggie Evans grabbed 8 rebounds, of which 5 were frontcourt rebounds, making it completely unreasonable to stand in the penalty area. At this moment, the Rockets fans on site were extremely nostalgic for the little giant, Yao Ming. Unfortunately, Yao Ming, who is an all-star, cannot participate in the Summer League again. In the first quarter, Lu Yong sat on the sidelines without any substitutions, and no one complained about his long playing time in the Summer League. 30.16, the Grizzlies lead by 14 points, ending the first quarter of the game. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Crazy Victory. In summer, the 5 Tigers show their sharpness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Crazy Victory. In summer, the 5 Tigers show their sharpness. In the next quarter, the Grizzlies made 5 substitutions and went straight to a classic 1-on-point-1 rotation of 5 ups and 5 downs. Bynum II, Jones, Stanovic, Warwick, and center striker Taylor all made appearances. This lineup has strong impact and athletic ability, but the defenders are not good at organizing attacks. However, it doesn't matter if the summer league lineup doesn't match. Anyway, it's just players fighting on the field, competing for personal abilities. The attacking efficiency of the Grizzlies significantly decreased in the second quarter, and the Rockets began to use this time to chase points, gradually narrowing the gap. 3 minutes later, Lu Yong was dissatisfied with the performance of the team's second lineup and took the initiative to call a timeout, leading by a double-digit margin. When domestic fans saw Lu Yong calmly drawing tactics on the tactical board, they were clearly stunned. Yu Jia looked surprised and said, "It turns out he's the head coach of the Grizzlies in the Summer League. Oh my God. He's so young at this age." Director Zhang's eyes were also staring like cows. Wow. You can't judge a person by their appearance. You became the acting head coach of the Grizzlies at a young age, and this fellow countryman must be a capable person. That is to say, CCTV does not live stream the NBA Summer League, otherwise once this scene is seen by domestic fans, it will undoubtedly ignite the internet without any suspense. Even so, there are still many Chinese fans watching the Summer League through the Chinese website, and they can't wait to record this scene in front of them and spread it wildly in chat groups. Surprisingly, there are domestic compatriots serving as head coaches in the NBA, which is enough to excite any basketball fan. Some people suspect that what they see is just an illusion, and that Asians can also serve as head coaches in the NBA. This kind of thing has never been pioneered in NBA history, it's so shocking. During the suspension period, Lu Yong emphasized defense. The Grizzlies' strong athletic talent could not withstand the attack of the Rockets' second team, which Lu Yong believed was unforgivable. In the Summer League, players are unwilling to defend and prefer to stay on the offensive end to showcase themselves and improve their exposure by producing good results. This idea is certainly true, but the management of each team is not a fool. If a player only brushes data, defends poorly, and has a negative attitude, then all empty cuts will become meaningless. Jones, Taylor, and Warwick's athletic talents are enough to run horizontally in the Summer League, and poor defense is purely a matter of attitude. Lu Yong does not believe that they will do their best to defend the second team of the Cricket Rockets. As the head coach, Lu Yong has a good understanding of the characteristics of the Rockets players, and he is naturally adept at arranging defensive tactics. After pausing and returning, the Grizzlies' defensive pressure increased visibly. Paget, Kakalidis, Hayes, and others of the Rockets made mistakes and were seized by the Grizzlies to launch a counterattack, quickly widening the gap to over 15 points. Boner Smith's request for a pause is of no use, as the players' personal abilities lie there. Once Grizzlies players give their all, the Rockets won't be able to break through the defensive barrier. Wang Zhizhi made his comeback with just over 5 minutes left in the next quarter. Unfortunately, Wang Zhizhi's several shots were deflected by Warwick's close defense, and tonight's offensive feel was poor, failing to help the Rockets hold on to the score. Warwick is expected to become the starting striker for the Grizzlies in the new season, with agile foot movement and outstanding height and arm span. He is generally struggling to defend and cannot find good shooting opportunities. As the score difference ran towards 20 points, Boner Smith couldn't sit still off the field and turned to wave his hand at Lucas 3. "John, get ready to play. Even if we lose tonight, we can't lose too badly." Lucas 3 returned to the field early and is the most athletic defender among the Rockets' starting lineups. Staying on the field can control the rhythm and help the team recover from some disadvantages. After playing a few rounds, Lu Yong felt that the second team was at this level and took advantage of the dead ball to switch to the starting lineup. Except for sophomore Hakeem Warwick, who stayed on the field to continue playing, all 4 other starting players appeared. In the first round of the 8th draft, Guy started to exert his strength, and several 1-on-point-1 singles were all converted into scoring. Breakthrough and mid-range jump shots were both very destructive. Facing Schneider, his body and skills are clearly superior, except for the low 3-point shooting efficiency, there is almost no flaw in this game. The Rockets have poor protection for their rebounds. Reggie Evans grabbed a frontcourt rebound and threw it outside. The Grizzlies scored 21 points in just 2 attacks, which is more than 10 more offensive rounds than the Rockets. In the last 3 minutes, the Rockets began to shrink towards the penalty area to protect their backcourt rebounds. As a result, the Grizzlies fired from the outside, with Barria hitting 2 3-pointers in a row from the left bottom corner, and Lauri hitting the board with a powerful 3-pointer from the top of the arc, directly launching a wave of attacks that widened the point difference to 20 points. At halftime, 61.40, the Grizzlies were leading by 21 points. During halftime, the spread and fermentation of domestic fans has attracted the attention of some media, with news online about Lu Yong coaching the Summer League. The Asian coach coached the Grizzlies Summer League, scoring 21 points at halftime to beat the Rockets. What is the background of young Asian coaches in the most beautiful scenery of the Summer League? The young coach of the Grizzlies looks like a Chinese. What unknown stories are hidden behind this? Because the Grizzlies have not yet held a press conference to announce the signing of Lu Yong, the North American fans present are also curious about how Lu Yong became the Grizzlies' acting head coach. It is unprecedented for Asians to serve as acting head coaches in the NBA, and the emergence of Lu Yong undoubtedly broke some rules and attracted the attention of many people. In the second half, the Rockets still couldn't break through the Grizzlies' strong defense with their attack. Shooting opportunities cannot be created, rebounds cannot be fought for, and even 1-on-1 dribbling through the body is not advantageous. It's like encountering a full range of dribbling. The biggest headache is that the Grizzlies not only have strong defense, but also strong offensive impact. The counterattack efficiency driven by defense is amazing, and it can't even be pulled when charged. Guy, Barria, Lauri, and Evans all hit it hard, pitching inside and out with fierce fighting, which made the Rockets players feel scared in the end. Ariza is the second lowest scoring starting player, but he also played a characteristic on the defensive end, locking in the attacking Arrow Spinolis from the opposite side and forming a perfect match. In the end, the Grizzlies won 118.81 by 37 points. When leaving the field, the Rockets players were all very frustrated, turning around and leaving without even holding their hands. The feeling of being beaten is not at all comfortable. From being suppressed at the beginning to the end, it never surpasses. Chinese player Wang Zhizhi scored 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, made 3 out of 11 shots, and made 4 out of 0 3-pointers in this game, with low efficiency. This summer league made Wang Zhizhi understand one thing, which is that he does not have the strength to compete in the NBA. Being eliminated by the league has become a foregone conclusion, and he is destined to return to China to prepare for the Tokyo Asian Games. Reggie Evans, who had been facing him for a long time, played for 31 minutes and only scored 4 points. However, he had 19 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block, which maximized the role of a blue-collar player. Rudy Guy scored the most points for the Grizzlies, with 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. He made 12 out of 19 shots and had a high shooting percentage of 63.2%. His talent was overwhelming against Novak. In the draft, Barria also scored 21 points, grabbed 2 rebounds, and provided 4 assists. He made 5 3-pointers throughout the game and his shooting skills were superb. Lauri had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Ariza had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, and the Summer Tigers all delivered perfect personal performances, successfully hitting their mark. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Continuous Victory. Monster. Maurice. How about next season? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Continuous Victory. Monster. Maurice. Why don't we just let him be a scout next season? After the game, a reporter interviewed Grizzlies head coach Lu Yong on site. After confirming that Lu Yong is of Chinese descent and speaking fluent Chinese, domestic fans were very excited and immediately paid attention to this Grizzlies in the Summer League. Being able to serve as a substitute coach for an NBA team at a young age, Lu Yong proved his strength. The next day, his name appeared in domestic sports news and became increasingly known to Chinese fans. In the United States, Lu Yong's popularity is not as high as in China. The popularity of the Summer League in the United States is not high, and journalists' attention is still more focused on the talented talents in the draft. The Grizzlies don't have any big-name rookies, except for Rudy Guy. They are all a bunch of rags. Even if they win their first Summer League victory, their popularity is not as high as that of the Toronto Raptors, who selected the 2006 top pick, Baniani, from next door. Fortunately, the Grizzlies management has been closely monitoring the team's performance, and Lu Yongxia's coaching ability in the first game of the league has been recognized by the dwarf tiger, Flatello, who was highly praised at the meeting. In World War II, the Grizzlies faced off against the Seattle Supersonics, the Western Fish Brisket. There are no potential rookies in the Supersonics team, and the biggest player is this year's first-round number 10 pick, Muhammad Heine, a parallel center who is 2.11 meters tall and weighs 104 kilograms. All the players sent by the Supersonics this time were fringe players. In the first game of the Summer League, Heine played for 28 minutes, making 2 out of 9 shots, 2 out of 3 three-pointers, 1 out of 1 free throw, and only scoring 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 block. His performance was mediocre. A group of unnamed players faced off against the 6 strong players led by Lu Yongqin, and the outcome was not unexpected. This supersonic team was defeated in the first quarter. The Grizzlies' main players clocked in for the third quarter, and Baria, who had the most playing time, only played 22 minutes without any pressure throughout the entire game. 106.80, the Grizzlies won by 26 points. The 7 members of the team scored double, hitting the ceiling of team cooperation. Insider Reggie Evans focuses on rebounding and defense, but he doesn't participate in offensive scoring, yet he still plays with unparalleled dominance in the penalty area. Lu Yong clearly told Reggie Evans that he only needs to focus on grabbing rebounds and defending well, and he will definitely stay with the Grizzlies in the new season. The task of attacking and defending the main striker Ariza is also very simple. In addition to blocking the attacking arrows on the opposite side, it is to ambush in the left corner and hit those 3-pointers that are in the open space. Being a good 3D player should do well, and testing the free market is not a worry. Reggie Evans played for 21 minutes in this game, scoring 2 points, 17 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, and 2 blocks, including 8 frontcourt rebounds, which is Rodman's data. Ariza had 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 steal. After playing for 19 minutes, he locked down the draft pick small forward Andre Brown and almost missed the opportunity to cry. The top scorers are still Guy and Baria, with 22 and 17 points respectively. Kyle Lowry, who has a very high basketball IQ, scored 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, and his performance is still the most versatile. The team won 2 consecutive games against their opponents, and manager Chris Wallace convened a meeting of management personnel to announce good news. We won a total of 63 points over our opponents in the 2 matches. What a terrifying result is this! I think everyone can prepare to celebrate in advance. Lu's leadership ability is even better than we imagined. I think this kid may be a monster now. When selecting players, we only looked at the list and gathered a team of marginal players. As a result, the players he invited played better and better in the game. Otherwise, we could just let him become a scout next season. Maurice Dagger, who has been working as a scout for nearly 30 years, was speechless, unable to find any other words to describe Lu Yong except for the monster. Mike, what do you think? Wallace asked with a smile. Fratello also did not expect the Grizzlies to have 2 consecutive victories over their opponents, and Lu Yong's coaching skills made him even more curious. If it weren't for the off-season when he still had a lot of work to do, he would have wanted to fly to Salt Lake City overnight to watch the game. Leading a ragged lineup that he didn't even look forward to, Fratello defeated his opponent by 63 points in 2 games, making his scalp tingle with the show. After pretending to ponder, he said, "The most outstanding thing about Lou is that the tactics he arranges for each player are very suitable for them. Even simple pick, roll, and run can still pose a huge threat. This summer league, he obviously put in a lot of effort and did the homework of inviting players. I like his seriousness." Maurice Dagger sat on the side and said, "No, Mike, I think you misunderstood. In fact, he has never had contact with these players before, and even this invitation list was printed out by me on the spot for him." What? 3 question marks appeared on Fratello's head, looking at Maurice's expression as if to express, "Are you kidding me?" Maurice had a strange expression on his face and said with a bitter smile, "It only took him 5 minutes from the selection to notifying me of the invitation. Afterwards, he even asked me if these players were in free form, and I am sure he has never done any homework before." Hiss. Monster. In the conference room, everyone showed an incredible expression. This kind of talent selection perspective can only be described as a monster. Especially for Barria, who is only 1.8 meters tall and was a draft pick, he left a deep impression on the Grizzlies management in the first 2 games of the Summer League. Being able to select him individually from a crowd of draft picks is enough to prove how outstanding Liu Yong's eye for people is. Even if one day he stops playing in the coaching industry and becomes a scout in the NBA, he can definitely get the top salary. "Chris, can we make an exception and transfer him to the scouting department? I always think this kid is a natural scout," Maurice Dagger said with his eyes lit up. "Get out of here, Maurice, don't be fooled by me. He is the chief assistant I carefully selected. Isn't it a waste of talent to work as a scout with you?" Fratello angrily cursed, afraid that Maurice Dag, this bastard, would use his qualifications to steal his trusted assistant. The better Liu Yong performs in the Summer League, the happier he feels in his heart. This indicates that Liu Yong is indeed a capable young man who can share the pressure on him in cultivating players and arranging tactics. He finally doesn't have to be so tired in the new season. In the 3rd game, the Grizzlies defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 114.90. Rudy Guy exploded and played for 34 minutes, scoring 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. Defeated draft veteran Ira Newbell, with a mid-range jump and no missed shots, allowing people to see the shadow of Lakers legend Jamal Wilkes in him. The Cavaliers rookie only had Shannon Brown scoring double, making 5 out of 14 shots, making 1 out of 3 three-pointers, and making 2 out of 2 free throws. He scored 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, but failed to secure a spot against Laurie. In the final quarter, he was fouled twice in a row by a breakthrough. In the 4th game, the Grizzlies defeated the King 102-77. Reggie Evans went completely crazy on the inside, playing for 31 minutes, scoring 8 points, 22 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block, with 10 of them being frontcourt rebounds. Playing in the Summer League is like crushing, completely unreasonable. Frontline striker Ariza also locked down second-year King student Francisco Garcia, allowing him to make only 4 out of 13 shots and score 9 points and 2 rebounds, far below the Summer League average. Later, the famous CBA legend Quincy Dolby was also hit hard, with a data of 8 points, 1 rebound, and 3 assists being crushed by Barria. The only mistake more than Barria was his mistake. In the end, he could even pass the ball to head coach Mills, almost not being killed by Mills with a black line on his face. After the game, Liu Yong passionately encouraged the players and stood in the locker room shouting with enthusiasm, "We have won the first 4 consecutive games. As long as we win the last game, we are the champions. The finish line is right in front of us. Prepare for the sprint, everyone, and let everyone see your strength. Mengxin seeks the support of all the big shots." End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Xia Lian wins the championship. A little famous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Lian wins the championship. A little famous. In the final game, the Grizzlies faced the Raptors. The Raptors have a strong presence in the Summer League, with top pick Baniani from this year's draft, 5th-placed PJ Tucker from the second round, second-year rookie Joey Graham, and third-year student Luke Jackson, who was just traded from the Cavaliers during the off-season, being formidable obstacles for the Grizzlies to win the Summer League championship. However, with tight defense and stable attack, the Grizzlies firmly controlled the situation from the beginning. Faced with this equally visible talent of the Raptors, they played with an advantage and did not fall behind in the match. Joey Graham, a sophomore in Ariza's defense, had a cold touch and missed a single run on his first 5-dot shot. Instead, he made the highest 3 turnovers of the game. His outstanding single defense ability has made Ariza highly valued by Lian, which is also the reason why he can still hold a stable position in the team's starting lineup despite not scoring many points per game. Reggie Evans also had a strong rebounding performance, facing 2006 champion Baniani dominating the basket and unleashing the dominance that rebounding monsters should have. Guy, Baria, and Laurie also performed well, working together to ensure offensive firepower and leading the Raptors by 14 points in the final quarter, securing the victory ahead of schedule. Stephen Jones sat down on the field with a gloomy expression and turned to head coach Lian, asking, "Coach, can I get a contract from the Grizzlies after the Summer League ends?" Lian didn't want to undermine his confidence and thought for a moment before saying, "Your athletic ability is excellent, and your offensive data is also eye-catching. However, unfortunately, the Grizzlies are a team that emphasizes defense, and it may be difficult for you to stay here in the new season." Jones's face was immediately filled with disappointment. "Got it, coach. Thank you for taking care of me during this time. Don't lose heart, you are still young, and there are plenty of opportunities in the future. If you don't mind leaving the United States, I suggest you go to the European League to give it a try. There, you can get more performance opportunities without wasting money. Perhaps one day, if you impress the scouts watching on the sidelines, you will have a chance to return to the NBA. Playing in the Development League may attract more attention from NBA teams than in European leagues, but the salary in the Second Division League is too low. If one cannot return to the NBA in a short period of time, it will be difficult to earn enough money to support their family. The European League is different, where capable players earn no less wages than the NBA, and the intensity of the competition is high, without falling behind in training and form. It is the best place to make money while waiting for opportunities in the draft. Thank you, coach, you're a good person." Jones squeezed out a disappointed smile and casually issued a good person card. At the end of the game, 94.80, the Grizzlies defeated their last opponent, the Toronto Raptors, and won all 5 games to win the Summer League championship. After the game, the players hugged each other on the sidelines. Not all faces were filled with smiles. The end of the Summer League means that these fringe players have completed their final sprint towards the NBA, and whether they can obtain a contract is already known in everyone's minds. Except for a very small number of key players, the remaining players are destined to travel to overseas leagues to seek gold. The organizers of Salt Lake City held a championship award ceremony, and Lian received the trophy. He smiled and took a group photo with the players. This coaching experience is enough to give him a solid foothold in the Grizzlies coaching staff, and no one in the management will question his abilities this summer. Tony Brown was also very happy, taking the trophy from Lian's hand and looking at it with fascination. He is much older than Lian and urgently needs to prove his worth. The championship trophy of the Summer League is a supreme honor in his eyes, just like the bonus that the management will soon give them when people reach middle age. They have no choice but to soak goji berries in a thermos, and the most scarce thing in their hands is money. After winning the Summer League championship, the management will distribute a bonus to the coaching staff, which Tony Brown believes is the most tangible. He is eager to fly back to Memphis to count the money. Rudy Guy was elected as the MVP of the Summer League, averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.5 steals per game, with a shooting percentage of 48.6%. As the top scorer in the team, his data is very impressive and he is undoubtedly the attacking powerhouse. However, if given the choice of Lu Yong, he would prefer to award the MVP to Reggie Evans, averaging 6.2 points, 18.4 rebounds, 1.6 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game. This data simply maximizes his blue-collar attributes. Unfortunately, whether it is a Summer League MVP or a regular season MVP, winning an award requires the support of scoring data. Even if a blue-collar plays a significant tactical role on the field and does not score double, it is destined not to be crowned as an MVP. His rebounding ability is at the star level, while his scoring ability is at the CBA level. Fortunately, the Grizzlies are a team that emphasizes a defensive and competitive attitude, and Evans joining the Grizzlies in the new season still has great value to develop. Because he played for the Denver Nuggets last season and was sidelined by George Karl, who focused on attacking tactics, reporters took the initiative to find Reggie Evans and interview him after the game. Reggie, you have performed well in this league and are the rebounding king of the Summer League. Do you have anything to say about playing for the Grizzlies? Evans excitedly said, "Fighting for rebounds is my strength, and I feel great now. I can't wait to play in the new season. I also want to thank the coach for trusting me and always letting me do what I'm good at, unlike some people who are paranoid. Coach Lu is the most talented young person I have ever seen." The reporter asked, "In the Summer League, you have always played as a center forward, but your height is only 2.03 meters, which is considered short in the center position. If the coach arranges for you to play as a center forward in the regular season, do you have confidence in playing this position?" Of course, I was already prepared. I don't think height is the standard for measuring a player's position, and Dennis Rodman is not tall either, but he has become a 7-time rebounding king. I have been working hard to learn from him and want to become someone like him. The official height of Flower Bug Rodman is only 2.01 meters, making him the shortest 7-time rebounding king in NBA history and also an idol of Reggie Evans. Piston star Ben Wallace is 2.03 meters tall, and although there is suspicion of falsely reporting his height, he is also an outstanding short center forward. With so many predecessors on the road, Reggie Evans is not worried about his height at all, and the competition field is always full of energy and passion. On his way back to the changing room, Lu Yong was stopped by a white journalist. His assistant behind him was wearing a duckbill cap and carrying a camera on his shoulder, intending to interview him. "Hello, I am a resident journalist from Memphis. May I interview you for a few words?" "Of course," Lu Yong nodded and said. "As the champion coach of this summer's league, what do you want to say?" "I am very grateful to the Grizzlies management for giving me the opportunity to prove myself. This is a very talented team, and I am very happy to coach them." A middle-aged journalist asked, "According to the information, you were an assistant coach at the University of Texas at NCAA last season, and your coaching experience in the NBA has not yet been included in your resume. Are you confident in helping the Grizzlies achieve better results in the new season?" "Of course, that's why I joined the Grizzlies coaching staff. From the moment I stood on the sidelines wearing a suit, I was always full of confidence." After answering a few less painful questions, Lu Yong ended the interview with satisfaction. Assistant coaches in the NBA rarely have the opportunity to be interviewed and usually do half behind-the-scenes work as reserve members in the coaching positions of each team. The opportunity to interview this time is thanks to his identity as an Asian coach, and he has just led the team to win the Summer League championship. Publishing news is very explosive and can easily arouse curiosity among fans. Appearing in the newspaper can increase his visibility and lead him from behind the scenes to the front stage in advance. End of this chapter.